All right, wine on gang. I hope y'all know what time it is. It's time. We gotta think of a name for Mondays, okay? We really gotta think of our authentic name. We don't want nothing that chest and no ex-employees and stuff that came up with. So I'll leave that up to y'all. 18 seconds till we get started. Remember, moderators, no blocking, okay? And if you're new over here, you definitely have to hit that subscribe button. And if anybody asks you, what you doing up over here around here, just let them know. Shocked that we are doing this show, because when I tell you there was so many things at play that was trying not to make this happen, I said, but we're not going through what we went through Friday. Friday, we had a whole show set up for y'all, and my guest couldn't make it because the time zone difference. We was in 3 different states, 3 different time zones, and everybody was just all over the place, okay? And we were really trying to give y'all a full, in-depth show on this whole Diddy saga. But today, oh my God, before I got here, my sister calls me on FaceTime, y'all. And I hate to even start off with sad news like this, but I actually started crying. Like, she was broken down. She opened the garage door to let her dog out. He's a little schnauzer. And he sees another dog across the street. He takes off running, and a car just crushed him on impact. And this broke me down. Just seeing her broke down. I've never actually cried over a dog or anything like that. And so this was my first. And I was like, I got to do a show. I got to stay in a good spirit. Lord, please be with me so I can get this show. And so I just want y'all to send prayers to her. And, you know, just love on her. She is a wino. You guys have seen her at some of the shows. She's my ex-track athlete sister. She was signed to Nike for quite some time, and her dog had just turned 3 years old. And to see that happen right there in front of her eyes in her neighborhood, right outside of her door, I mean, it was just devastating. And so I just want y'all to send prayers. I'm definitely sending my prayers to her. And I hated that I even had to end the phone call to do the show, but I had to, you know, we got a commitment here and I have to honor that, okay? And so listen, okay? We're going to be discussing Diddy, all right, in depth. All right, so there was a lot of things we didn't get to cover on Friday that we had prepped for y'all. We had Mel as well as Jay Carter on standby. Jay Carter is a lawyer. Mel is a reporter. He does travel around to different cases and actually sits in the courtroom to give us non-biased information, okay? And so he doesn't have an agenda or anything to bring you non-biased information. And of course, Jay Carter is going to ensure that she stays within the legal boundaries to ensure that you guys get accurate information. And then, of course, with Diddy's lawsuits that have just been piling up, 2 were actually filed the day before his sentences, which I felt like was very strategic from certain lawyers involved, thinking that it would have some sort of influence on the judge and things like that with his sentencing. But we'll discuss all of that in this segment, okay? And of course, we're going to open up the phone lines for you all as well, because we didn't really get a chance to allow y'all to really elaborate on how you feel about this whole ordeal, because he is not done yet. He is just getting started, okay? And so we're talking about Diddy in that case. And Friday was a very emotional day for a lot of people. And so, we were going to do part 2. This is untraditional for a Monday, but we're going to let y'all have it anyway. And as we like to say, the wino is always right. And so listen, before we introduce our guests, you guys know that we have to take a minute to thank our sponsors. This is how we get paid. This is why we don't ask you guys for money, okay? We only want you paying for things that help to impact your life, which is products and services, all right? And so with that said, we're going to take a break and show these sponsors. And in the meantime, you guys make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Do not go anywhere. And after the break, we got Mel as well as Jay Carter ready to give you some things that were going on in the courtroom that I felt like, you know, because a lot of bloggers were just being biased because they're either team Diddy or team this person, and none of that's going to happen here, okay? And with that being said, we got some sponsors we need to brag about, which means boldly raise a glass to. We'll be right back after the break. Let's go.
Stressed out about anything, including debt. There's so many other detriments to our lives, our health, our family, our friends, all can see it on us. And then when you become debt-free, you can start focusing on things that truly make you happy. It really is true happiness. I've had many individuals make up with family members after going through bankruptcy because they don't have the stress. It really changes your mindset, and it allows you to have the freedom, the mental freedom, to take care of what's really important. And I certainly recommend it for everybody because, as we all know, life is too short.
Remember I was telling y'all about the lubricant? Y'all hear in all my videos, the lube that I always use. This is it right here. It's Wet Kitty. This is what it look like. Wet Kitty, Wet Kitty, Wet Kitty. If you're having vaginal dryness, she got you. Wet Kitty is that girl. It mimics the vaginal fluids. It is odorless, colorless, tasteless. It does not cause vaginitis. It does not dry up and get sticky. Again, it's that girl. Officiallypleasure.com. And yes, I recommend this to my patients. I recommend this to all the girls.
Farm to School Conference located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It starts December 1st through 4th, and it's going to have over 1,500 educators, parents, chefs, and things like that that are implementing changes right now in our children's nutrition at the schools, meaning healthier school lunches. I'm excited to meet Ron Finley, the gangster gardener. I've been following him for years. He's going to be this year's keynote speaker, and I want to let you know that tickets are on sale and they're going fast. And so listen, if you care like I care and you are tired of having to pack lunches every day, especially if we're tax-paying citizens, then put your money where your mouth is and be in Albuquerque, New Mexico, December 1st through December 4th. Get your tickets now before they're sold out, okay? Decision makers are going to be at this conference implementing changes in schools across America. So don't wait. Grab your ticket right now at farmtoschool.org/conference. Use my coupon code Tasha K 25 to get 25% off your ticket. Winos, I'm going to see you in Albuquerque if you care. All right, and we're back. All right, don't forget, guys, to support the sponsors. Great products. We wouldn't put anything in front of you if it wasn't great. Or something that I wouldn't personally use at all, okay? And that's the whole reason why we're leveraging these relationships. And so listen, without further ado, I'm not gonna make them wait another minute because they waited on me on Friday, okay? And so we got Jay Carter here from the Black Lawyers Podcast. How you doing? As well as Mel from Watching the World. Did I say that right, Mel? Watching the World.
Yes, indeed. You couldn't have said it better.
All right, perfect. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Thank you, Tasha. We finally made it. We finally made it.
I was like, oh no, we're going to get this content out. Oh, yes, we are. Okay. And so listen, I wasn't there and a lot of us weren't there during this trial. And I know that the sentencing lasted all day. You were just telling me, I'm going to start with Jay Carter first, Mel. Just give me a second. Jay Carter, that the judge, you guys didn't get the actual verdict until like 5 p.m. exactly Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, it was almost 5. It was like 4:50. It was all day because what they did was they gave us a small break in between, and they essentially, so at a sentencing hearing, you already have the verdict, right? Hi, winos, by the way. I'm hoping.
Yes.
I say hi to your winos because they drag me. They're like, you're Team Diddy. No, I'm not. I'm gonna be as neutral as I can on this live. So, what they do is they have both sides basically argue case law to support like which case looks the closest to Diddy. And then based on the case law and the guidelines, then the judge sits back and decides what he's going to determine. But the kicker is, and we can get into this a little bit more when we talk a little bit more about the sentencing, but the judge doesn't have to just go on case law, unfortunately, and just the guidelines. He can consider all of Diddy's character, all of his conduct, and take that into consideration with the sentencing. The problem is it's almost creating some double jeopardy issues that his attorneys obviously are going to appeal about. But he basically said, I understand what the case law is saying, but I'm looking at your character. I'm looking at your conduct. And so I'll let Mel speak, but it was the very last thing that the judge said that made me realize he was going to get more than that 2 years.
Mel, what do you think? Go ahead, Mel, jump in on this.
Yes, indeed. I saw Jay Carter in person at the courthouse, pulled up on her. It was a good
now
thing,
you married
right?
Now, don't forget now. Hold up.
Lord.
Wait a minute, Mel. Wait a minute.
Oh, don't spin it, Tasha. We don't spin it. We spinning it early. Lord of mercy. We spinning it early. I love it. Hey,
We
listen.
spinning.
So,
They say you look like Mace now, Mel. They say you look like
oh
Mace.
boy, oh, I keep hearing that. That's scary to me. Okay, all right.
All
Not
right,
in the
go
bad,
ahead, go
not in
ahead,
the
go
bad,
ahead.
not in the bad way. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, the judge basically started off talking about the acquitted conduct, right? And he made it very clear he wasn't talking about the acquitted charges. So he wasn't holding that against Diddy, but the whole entire picture, because he started off saying, listen, the defense attorneys are trying to make this sound like love and rock and roll from Diddy, just a light night out. But he says, no, it's much serious than that. And this man has done some serious things and he has to be held accountable for it.
Something
Okay.
else. There's something else that stood out, and I don't think I saw this posted anywhere on your platform. I don't know if they passed it along to you. The
Okay.
attorney, the Black female attorney, Nicole, she broke down in tears.
I heard about that. We didn't post it though because I almost fired my social media manager that day because he decided to take a cruise on the day of the sentencing and then tell me a week ahead of time that he was going to be off. I said, see what happens when you hire a 23-year-old? I hope he's watching the show. So he ain't had no internet on the cruise.
That was one of the shocking.
Yeah, I heard that she started crying.
And so at first I'm thinking, is it her allergies? You know, at first we're not understanding. Like everybody is kind of looking at each other like, is she breaking down? So like no one really knew how to react. Because here's the thing, as a lawyer, right? There's a professional decorum I think you should always keep at all times. But people want to know why she broke down. I think Diddy at some level, not that Diddy was also another lawyer, but he kind of mentored her, like when she was trying to get into criminal justice reform, like do something different for her career. I think he helped her with that. And so basically she used herself as an example of why the judge should consider his good deeds. The fact that he gives people jobs, he's giving people money, he's giving people opportunities. He's, this is not, he may have done some bad things, but he's not necessarily a bad guy. So she went into this whole soliloquy about what Diddy had done for her. And then she bounced back and said, just for the Black culture, not just for hip hop, but for Black culture, by him becoming a billionaire and being so successful, he showed us that it could be done and that the judge should not overlook basically his contribution to the community. So it was interesting, right before the judge gave his final sentencing, he went through everything Nicole said. He's like, oh, he's raised millions. He's done this, because at first I'm like, oh, the judge, it's looking like it's going in the right direction. He named all the things you can think of. Diddy opening up schools, giving scholarships. He's like, Diddy has probably done more than anybody has done for anybody in this room, right? But then he used the word, however. And the minute he said, however, I said, oh, we ain't getting them 2 years because I just heard, however. He said, however, these same resources, the same power allowed him to also abuse people. So the same thing he did good things with, he did bad things with. And he said, this is essentially, and I'm rephrasing, but he said, essentially, this is what made him come to his final decision. He said, after Cassie had filed her lawsuit, the videotape had came out and he did that video apology. Because again, the judge is looking at the timeline. He said Diddy still was doing freak offs with Jane. I won't say who she is, but I think we all know.
50 Cent baby mama.
You said it.
Allegedly. Even my name was allegedly. And 50 Cent baby mama is damn near 40 years old.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He was still having freak offs with her. In fact, he was arrested in a hotel room. So potentially they could have been
with baby oil and pink cocaine.
Yeah. So he
had a mini bottle. He had the travel size bottle.
Right. So he's like, after you knew a federal investigation was underway, the Cassie tape came out. You settled with Cassie. You were still having freak offs, and you still physically abused Jane. You got into you beat her. Like in the timeline, he beat Jane savagely. Again, according to her. This is after everything came out. So he's
Wait a minute. You saying he beat 50 Cent baby mama?
Jane. Yes. Jane. So
wait a minute. Nah, hold up. Now I follow everything.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know about him putting hands on Jane.
So Jane doesn't typically in her testimony really talk about physical abuse, right? She really talks more or less about the freak offs and how she didn't want to do it. But she said there was one incident where he kicked her door in, like literally kicked the door off the hinges and beat her savagely over her not wanting to basically do a freak off anymore. And he literally quoted, because again, allegedly, Jane said that Diddy said this to her. Am I coercing you? He literally used the language of the federal investigation. He's like, am I abusing you? Is this coercion? Like, the judge was like, that is what took the cake for me. The fact that you were under federal investigation, the lawsuit had just settled, the videotape had played, and you, number one, had the nerve to still A, have a freak off, but B, beat someone after all that. He says, it seems like you only want to do the right thing when someone's watching, or if you know someone is watching.
Mel, you heard this too. So he beat Jane in 2024 is what you're saying?
So they had a good relationship, and this is after she met with the feds, right? They were in the kitchen, and she slammed his head into the tile countertop, and that's when he went off. So she's the one that started it. He never beat her prior to that. And at this point, she's trying to get away from him, and she's going through all of these consecutive rooms, and he's knocking down each door according to her, which sounds a little bit off to me.
Like,
but at any rate, that's a testimony. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so for the judge, he said that's what took the cake. He's like, I think if I let you out today, or if I let you out, let's say in one more year, you wouldn't have really learned your lesson. He's like, I just don't think so. And again, before he said, however, I feel like the prosecution did a really, really good job laying out that the average Mann Act case, so I think there are over 900 Mann Act cases. The average Mann Act case, even with coercion, is only 28 months. It's only 28 months. And then they cited a case where someone was recording minors doing sexual acts. That person only got 24 months. So when I heard the case law, I was getting excited, like, oh, okay. Like it's seeming like 2 years, 1 year served. But the minute the judge said, it's almost like F the case law, I don't care how many good deeds he did. It was how he acted after the Cassie lawsuit and videotape. That is what turned the judge to say, you know what? I'm not going to give you this base 2 years. I'm going to go beyond that.
So he gave him an extreme sentence.
Let's go back to the very beginning, right?
Go ahead, Mel. Go ahead.
In the very beginning of the trial that day, the prosecution, according to the judge, was asking for 135 months. The defense was asking for 14 months, and probation had recommended between 70 to 87 months. And the judge came out and said, listen, the court agrees with this. So at this point, most of us are thinking he's going to get 7 years. They're basically going to cut the baby down the middle, right? You have the extreme 11 years. You have basically a year right in the middle. And so basically that's how we kind of was expecting that. But the judge came out and said, basically, I was going to give him 60. For some reason, he reduced it by 10 months. I personally think it's because his kids went up there and they did a beautiful job talking about their father, expressing their feelings. He dismissed us for 5 minutes. He came back. He dropped it 10 months, and we landed at 50 months for Sean Diddy Combs with 5 years of supervision.
And everybody broke down in the courtroom with the girl. I mean, the boys were fine when they were talking, but when the girls spoke, that's where everybody everybody in the courthouse was just really upset because, in their mind, they know their father did these terrible things, but at the end of the day, that is still their father. And so I definitely think the judge took that into consideration. And in terms of where we are now, and I think it happened today. I didn't hear any updates just yet. Today, his lawyers have to go to the judge and they need to figure out, like, what does the 50 months look like? We already know one of the year is time served, but you have to remember he may get a what you call a young thug package. Okay,
he's asking right now. I don't mean to cut you off. He's asking right now to be moved to a New Jersey correctional facility. Mm-hmm. There's a drug program there, and in that program, if he were to do that drug program, he could get 9 months knocked off of his sentence. And then there's another program as well too that he's trying to take. I think it's like anger management, where he'll get another 6 months knocked off his sentence. So if he gets this approved, he could potentially get out of jail towards the end of next year.
And it doesn't count also probation. Also probation. Like you can get Young Thug got time served, probation, community service. You know, like they kind of broke it up. So yes, so if that's the update in terms of the programs, yes, this can. We already know it's not really 4 years, it's 3 years because they're going to already take the time served. So let's really just say it's 3 years. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Diddy. Because here's the thing. They're not going to want anything to happen to him in the next 3 years because they say he is a target. They said he didn't want to make a big deal about it, but he almost was shanked right before the sentence.
Tell me about that because that didn't go public. Nobody reported on, you know, Diddy being in the hospital after
because
being
he didn't
shanked.
really, to be honest, well, he didn't actually get shanked. He almost got shanked. A guard got in between. But what the lawyers are saying is they're like basically saying, listen, we understand jail. This is part of, unfortunately, jail, right? We're not saying, oh, give him special treatment. But because he's a celebrity, a lot of times they will take you out of general population. Even if you stay in a really bad prison, they'll try to put you somewhere else. They're going to have to do something because they're also saying they're not just afraid about shanking, him being killed. They said that basically they're looking at Diddy as what they call a trophy in jail. And trophies basically are targeted for sexual assault. So it is like,
they can become a celebrity.
Yeah, if you're able to
sexually taking out Diddy is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, I sexually assaulted Diddy. Yeah, that's like a thing for them in there. So he better pray that not only is he moved to another facility, but he's not put in general population. However, they're gonna break up these 3 years. He does need to be separated because here's the thing. I truly believe when you commit a crime, you do need to do the time, right? You do need to do the time. That's the law. Just do the time. But what I don't like about our criminal justice system is that the sexual assault, being almost killed, like that shouldn't come with your sentence. You should be able to go in, do your time, and come home. I don't think and this is not just for Diddy, this is just even if you're a normal person. I don't think you should have to be sexually assaulted. I don't think you have to be almost killed and beat up in jail. Those things are not managed well in this country. And Diddy is going to see firsthand if he hasn't obviously already seen.
Where was he serving time at? Rikers Island?
No, what is it called, Mel?
It's called the MDC in Brooklyn. And I believe that if you were going to sentencing to Tasha, you would have a good shank story on your day with your attorney so you could perhaps get off too. So everybody needs a very tough story. I'm not trying to, no, I'm not trying to, I'm just saying I would have a shank story too. I mean, it would have
allegedly he didn't want it to get out. He was embarrassed, but I don't know. That could be a tale too.
I'm not taking away. But remember, throughout the day, they said Diddy was in there teaching everybody, the 25 people. He's in this warehouse setting, 25 of them. He's teaching them, maybe even bringing them to Jesus. I don't know. But then we get a shank story. So I'm just saying, take away from that, I would have a good shank story too. If I was going to sentencing.
Like they're going to kill me, judge, don't put me in here because, you know, I shouldn't be in here. So basically you think he was gunning, Amel, do you think he was gunning for home confinement maybe?
I think he was just planning on going home, period. We know that because he had an event planned for this week. In fact, Monday down in Miami. So I think that he was certain he was coming home.
What was the event?
Yeah, I want to clear that up. I want to clear that
go ahead.
up.
And tell us what the event was.
This is not me being Team Diddy. This is what his lawyer said, and the judge agreed. It was a community teaching event. So his plan, whenever he gets out, right, is to take the free game course that he's teaching in the jails right now. He's going to take it to other jails. He's going to take it to churches. He's going to take it to schools. He is going to offer this free class. So again, allegedly, the thing they were scheduling in Miami was just that, because typically one of the things they do when you're released from jail, they say, well, we release you. What are you going to do? What is your release plan? Right? They always ask what your release plan is. So his lawyer said, well, we only scheduled this to show that we had a real plan for him, that we're going to monitor him. He's going to be doing these free classes. He's going to be at home with his family. They were like, the prosecution tried to twist it like he's basically doing like a club event or like a speaking event, like for profit. And that's not what it was. So I'll be honest though, as soon as the prosecutor,
but wasn't that a facility that was it at Booby Trap or something? Because I'm trying to figure out why.
I don't know where. I
a
don't
big
know
deal.
where, but they said, oh, he's scheduled already for an event, so he must have already think that he's going home. We think that's so offensive to the court. I mean, the prosecution went on and on and on. Of course, the defense tried to turn around and said, you know, they should look stupid because it's actually a teaching event. It's a free event. He's not getting paid. It's for the community.
Okay.
Bottom line is, I think somebody's point is, even if it was a free event, it was for the community. The fact that you already scheduled something does show that you didn't you're still not really feeling like you did anything wrong and that you need to be here. Even if you don't mean to give that energy off, that's the energy you're giving off. But the judge understood it was a community teaching event. But you could hear a pin drop when they said he had an event already scheduled. Everybody just kind of clutched their pearls.
Like he knew, he knew.
We were like, dang,
he probably had some other events scheduled as well too. Because Carisha was waiting on the other side. Because you know she wrote a letter asking for him to be out, and you know she's publicly said that she was a whore. You know, and she liked to be peed on and everything like that. So she's with it. He ain't got to beat her ass. You know, she's desperately in need of cash right now. So I'm sure she was waiting for you know, Poppy to come home.
And your good girlfriend Gina showed up to one of the.
Shout out to Gina. I heard she was looking like an old Thai lady. How she
when I saw that video of her, I said that doesn't look like the Gina that Tasha interviewed. Like
let me tell you something. Gina was very much giving Hype Williams video vixen, okay, when she was with me. Mel, how she look? You a man. How was Gina looking that day?
She looked like she was in disguise. She was rather sophisticated when I saw her.
She looked like she on a dry cleaning service.
Oh yeah.
Yes, she didn't look dolled up at all. Like I think she had glasses. I mean, it's almost like she aged herself 20 years. I mean, she was, to me, almost unrecognizable. And here's my thing. She's playing the long game. She wants to make sure she's on Diddy's good side when he gets out. She wrote the letter. She showed up. She also didn't testify, which I'm surprised they didn't arrest her for testifying. Because, I mean, usually if you're subpoenaed to testify, you have to. But they probably figured if she gets up there, she's not going to testify the way we want her to. So they probably just let it go. But you know, she was technically the third.
Well, they had our interview. So they used our interview as well, too. So they actually quoted that because she was the person that got this whole thing kicked off in the first place. No one would really even know anything. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for her. And her testimony, you know, was in line with what Cassie went through, was in line with what, you know, 50 Cent's baby mama, Jane Doe went through and things like that. So I'm shocked that she even went down there. I'm
shocked. I was shocked, but I think she said, let me put it on. Let me put the gravy on extra heavy. Let me lecture.
Did she speak?
Oh, no.
No.
In fact, that was another thing. So you get the inside tea because we were actually sitting in it. Here's another piece of tea that they said. They, again, allegedly, the prosecutor said, oh, well, Jane wanted to speak today at the sentencing hearing because prosecutor had attitude. I'm going to be honest with you. Prosecutor had attitude the whole day. She was pissed. She said Jane wanted to speak, but she's still being bullied. She's still being harassed. So, you know, she decided at the last minute not to speak. Now, again, I don't know if that's true or not, but she was pissed. She was pissed about the event being scheduled. The prosecutor was pissed that Jane didn't speak. Obviously, Cassie wasn't going to speak again. I think she said more than enough. But she was going to have Jane speak. And at the last minute, Jane, who we already know who it is, did not speak. Something else interesting I wanted to point out, because sometimes people say, well, okay, he was they wanted 11 years. Like Mel said, you know, the guidelines said maybe somewhere between, you know, whatever, 6 to 7 years. Okay, he gets 4, right? What I see about that 4 years as well, and again, you're not legally supposed to do this, so just follow me for just a second. To me, his case reminds me of OJ. Do you remember what happened with OJ?
I heard the verdict happened on the day that the anniversary of OJ Simpson's trial.
Well, you know what? Yeah. You're telling me something new. So that's that.
Yeah. So it
also reminds me of OJ because OJ, although was acquitted, right, for the criminal stuff, you know, for the murder and all that, he then many years later, with allegedly trying to get his memorabilia back, he was found guilty of like armed robbery, trying to get his stuff back, right? And in any other circumstance, a judge would sentence you to maybe a couple of years, not maybe 5 to 10 years, nothing significant. Do you remember how many years OJ got?
No.
33 years. Now, why is that significant? Because his civil judgment that he's yet to pay the family was $33 million, which is really 33.5. The reason why I say this is similar is because it's almost as if they said, you know what? We're never going to be able to convict you in California for beating up your girlfriends, right? Statute of limitations has long passed, right? We can't convict you, even if we wanted to. There's no one that can prosecute Diddy for beating up Cassie, Jane, Gina, anybody in California. They cannot bring charges. But if you think about it, if they had brought charges, it probably would have been somewhere between 3 to 5 years. So I feel as though it's almost like karma justice. Like what is Michael X says? The roost, what is the roost? The chickens finally coming home to roost.
Yeah.
I think that karma-wise, not so much legal-wise, but karma-wise, I feel like the 4 years really represents what he would have gotten from what he would have easily been found guilty of. Because again, his lawyers in the appeal are going to say, listen, sex trafficking, RICO, he wasn't convicted of these things. Yet you want to consider him beating his girlfriend all these years into his sentencing for trafficking, not female, but male prostitutes across state lines. It doesn't match. You're trying to make his sentencing include what he did to his girlfriends, and he wasn't convicted on anything as it relates to his girlfriends. And that is going to be the center of the appeal. They're going to basically say it's almost like double jeopardy.
Let me jump in real quick. So there were two I guess sexual assault lawsuits that were filed the day before the trial. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that had an impact on the judge's decision at all? Because one man is alleging that at a party he attended in 2014 at Diddy's house that he only drank. There was lots of cocaine and other drugs there. He ended up having about 2 to 3 drinks and he doesn't remember. He just remembers being taken into a room. And when he left the room, his rectum was bleeding. Mm-hmm. And months later, he tested positive for HIV. First of all, let me ask you guys a question. Mel, I'm going to start with Mel. Mel, was there any talk, do you remember, in that court case of any type of STDs being passed around from Diddy and these male prostitutes? Mel?
No, I don't recall it being specifically said. I mean, there was some discussion about wanting to have individuals checked out for STDs, especially in the case of Cassie. But I don't recall a case where someone came out straight and said, Diddy gave me this.
Okay. Yeah, there were no, to my knowledge. Mm-hmm.
Was there any talk of anybody being, anally penetrated or anything like that?
There was nothing in this case about homosexuality. The only thing that was kind of weird was the rubbing of the semen on the belly of the dancers, whatever you want to call them, sex workers. Mm-hmm. But there was no penetration.
What do you mean rubbing of the semen? Who rubbed whose semen?
Okay, so David Phillips came in first. He was the first sex worker. He said that after he would have sex with Cassie, Diddy and Cassie would go into the next room. Okay, when Cassie came along, she revealed that David would basically ejaculate on her belly or her private part, and then they would go into the next room, and her and Diddy would rub the semen on his nipples. So it was some freaky stuff going on, but no type of penetration of a male.
Right, which is also a part of their argument about the Mann Act. They said Diddy did not actually participate in any sex acts with the prostitutes. This is more a case about voyeurism, not necessarily him participating. But where he gets caught up, which I pointed this out to Ray J when Ray J was on your stream a couple of months ago. Again, I'm not encouraging your audience to commit crimes. However, if you are going to commit a crime, do not use a credit card. Do not use a credit card. Don't put anything in text and don't put anything in email. The credit card kept saying Combs Enterprises for the most part. So they're saying, well, it was Combs, it was his credit card. So if a credit card shows that you're booking a plane ticket for someone and bringing them across state lines, even if you don't have sex with them, you've already are guilty of the crime, right? Because you booked the ticket and they came across state lines. The minute they get on the plane and they will come across, even without sex, you have violated the Mann Act. And so if there were no credit card, you know what I'm saying? It would have been like a he said, she said, and they wouldn't have even gotten this conviction. That credit card is really what got Diddy in trouble with this last conviction. And it was also, to me, the most obvious thing they could convict him of. I never thought they were going to be able to strongly convict him of RICO. And then when it relates to sex trafficking, I actually feel like Jane just absolutely killed the prosecution's case. Like, she was not a good witness. If anything, she was.
Is that because he was still financially supporting her?
I think that's a part of it. I mean, he was paying for a lawyer. He was still paying for her place to stay. And she kept saying that so much of it was consensual. So she just was not a good witness for the prosecution. She wasn't.
I think Jane came in and she was more of a witness for Diddy because she took on all of the ordering or calling in. She was even, I guess, kind of falling for some of these sex workers. So it kind of took the pressure off of him that he wasn't the one trying to initiate a lot of these free calls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then as it relates to the just speaking directly to the HIV suit, because the guy is, claiming that he got tested, he was negative, but then a few months later he did test HIV. What I think is interesting about this suit, and again, I can't remember if it was right before the sentencing or after the HIV suit, but whether it be the HIV suit or any of these other suits, how much money do y'all think Diddy has? Like he's not a billionaire anymore. And even the money that Cassie received, newsflash, did not come out of Diddy's bank account. It came out of the insurance money. If you look at even the HIV, we're just going for short, call it the HIV lawsuit because it's easier to say that. The HIV lawsuit, it's written like a labor and employment lawsuit. Hey, I was working for my employer.
He was an intern.
Right. So I'm an intern. So as an employee, I went to a party. And again, as an employee and intern, I was sexually assaulted. I now have HIV. So here's the problem. He doesn't know. He's not saying it was necessarily Diddy. He doesn't know who sexually assaulted him. Let's start there. So that right there is going to be a hill for that particular claimant to climb. But also, I think Diddy's attorneys are going to have a really easy job dismissing this, saying, buddy, you're suing the wrong person. Like, you going to a party after hours, that doesn't fall underneath your employment.
Who filed this lawsuit? Do you know?
It was under John Doe, so we don't know.
No. She's saying
who's a lawyer?
I have to double check to see which attorney filed.
Because he's getting lawsuits knocked out left and right.
Right. And I think this will be another one because, again, it'd be different if it was in the studio, maybe it was during working hours. I don't know. Like they call it respondent superior. So essentially you go after the employer when something happens to you. That's why if you even look at Cassie's lawsuit, it reads very like employer-employee because she was technically an artist signed to the record label. And by making it more of a labor and employment thing, right, she was able to go after his insurance policy. But see, this is what happens with insurance. I'm sure you know, Tasha, if you keep tapping on your insurance, at some point they're like, you know what? We're going to drop you. We're not covering you anymore. So again, he's not saying that Diddy sexually, he's just saying he was at Diddy's party because he was an intern. I feel as though he's not suing Diddy because he actually thinks Diddy did it. I think he is suing him because he's like, well, if I can't really recall who did it because it was in the dark and I was drugged, I need to go after who I think has the pockets to go after. And right now, Diddy is really the only person he can go after. And he's going to
let me jump in real quick. I do want to let you guys know that the link is in the chat. You guys can get up and say your piece or ask Mel, me, or Jay Carter any question that you want for the last 20 minutes of the show. But I did want to jump in because there's a lawsuit that I've been trying to get my hands on, but I can't because 50 Cent has it sealed. Now, 50 Cent has been very vocal about Diddy and his shenanigans and what's going on, acting as if he hasn't been hit with the same thing. Now, it's been rumored by 50 Cent's baby mothers that he's been abusive as well. You know what I'm saying? And not so much on the sexual exploitation of it all, but mainly being abusive. And so there's a lawsuit right now that 50 Cent is having the court basically a seal because he claims that it would, if it were out, ruin his reputation and his business dealings because of the nature of the claims that are in the lawsuit. Because, you know, when they have these deals, when they're, you know, doing deals with these big studios and producing films and stuff, you know, most of these celebrities abide by a moral clause, you know, and if they morally, if anything kind of creates any doubt about their character, then they have the right to pull any deals, pull any money and stuff like that. So he really went straight to the court and asked them to seal everything because a woman that he used to allegedly date back in the early 2000s is alleging that, you know, he beat her really bad. And so she's not actually suing him. She's going after his insurance company. And so in order for his insurance company to not pay out, which they are ordered to pay out, I don't know how his insurance company is involved in all this, and I don't know how she was able to swing it. I think maybe she was an employee at the time for her to be able to go after the insurance, but because I'm not able to get my hands on that lawsuit, but it is public with the white media outlets like Bloomberg. But you know, a lot of us don't read Bloomberg. You know what I'm saying? We read the Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, Tasha K, and things like that. So in order to stop his insurance company from paying out this claim, he is opening up his bankruptcy and saying that if this occurred before the date of bankruptcy, then guess what? He shouldn't owe her. But here's the challenge. If this claim is a torturous claim, which means, like, say, for instance, if she were to take it all the way to court, it doesn't matter if the claim was done or if the incident happened before the bankruptcy was filed, which means anything that happened before the bankruptcy gets included in the bankruptcy. You cannot admit tort judgments in a bankruptcy to be reduced down. Same thing happened in my case. So, like, I filed bankruptcy, right? I have a tort judgment that is not able to be discharged. But guess what? It can fall under a bankruptcy plan, which means I'm a Chapter 11. I can pay it back in payments and negotiate a deal with the creditor to take it. Because obviously it's like the creditor wants something. It's better than taking something than nothing. And so I just feel like, you know, one, it was very wrong for the court to hide this, because if she was able to legally almost get a payout from his insurance company, then there's some liability on his end. You understand what I'm saying? Because why would an insurance company pay out? Why are you trying so hard for them not to pay out? Because he knows that if this was a payout and she wanted to come public saying, I got this, I don't have to sign a settlement letter or anything like that, then guess what? He's got a lot to worry about, because I really feel like as much energy as he takes to give Diddy as if he lived perfect, it's like Diddy is not the only one out here whooping on bitches.
Well, you know, his child's mom actually, so in addition to this secretly sealed thing, she actually was filing or had filed something that, yes, he, you know, supposedly sexually assaulted her one time, at least one time. He beat her one time. Like, so he had to come to some negotiation with her as well to get that to go away. 50 Cent just landed a new show on Fox. It's like a kind of like an investigative report show. Like, he's got a lot of stuff coming out. So you're absolutely right. Those shows, those deals, everything would go into the trash. If
Mel, let me get your opinion on this, because I do want to ask y'all a question. And remember, guys, the link is in the chat. Please hit the link if you want to say anything or give any thoughts. We really want to hear from straight male men as well, too, how y'all feel about this, as well as, you know, the women as well, too. But the link is in the chat. Come on in and give us your thoughts. We'll be heading over to TashaKLive.com a little later with a Zoom. But I'll tell you about that later. And Jasmine actually just said that she just sent me an actual article with him facing over 60 civil lawsuits. 60. Diddy is facing 60 civil lawsuits. Mel, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, in the case of 50 Cent, what you were talking about with Diddy, this is what proved to be very destructive because, as Agnifilo said in the closing arguments to the jury, right, these victims did not come and try to report this to the Southern District saying Diddy did this to me. They saw the lawsuit, similar to what you're talking about with 50 Cent, right? They saw a lawsuit and came after Diddy. So it would be a wise course if you're trying to protect your interest.
Right.
This
But like
is
I
how these
said, there's
cases
only
kick
so
off.
much insurance that can go around. There's only so much money he has. So maybe after all of this, maybe Diddy can meet up with your bankruptcy guy. I mean, he's going to need somebody. He's going to need someone that is a professional, because there's no way he can just empty out his whole bank account. There's no way every insurance company that was covering him through Bad Boy Enterprises or whatever, that they're just not going to cover all this. But I think his attorney strategy is first, while he's, obviously appealing his case, to try to, like you said, knock out as many civil lawsuits as possible, like get it down, because you're saying it's around 60. They're going to try to get it down.
Well,
And
the
then
lawyers,
whatever they can do
the billing hours.
Yeah. In court, they said over 100. Over 100, they said in court.
And keep in mind, because everyone's like, oh, he's appealing. In this country, if you want to appeal a case,
you got to pay for it.
Well, you got to pay for it, but it also takes a year minimum. So let's just say he successfully appeals. Some appeal judge buys this whole double jeopardy thing. Like, oh, they shouldn't have considered him beating his girlfriend into the sentencing, and he wins. Diddy, it's going to take at least minimally a year to just do an appeal. So no matter what,
he's going to be out before the appeal is done.
Well, we got to find out if they're going to approve what you said. All these programs to knock off the time. We don't know.
He's a first-time offender. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, for his sake, I hope so, because if every day your life is in danger, if every day you're considered a trophy for sexual assault, it's just one more day that you are afraid, and you probably don't.
Diddy do got a fat ass and thick hips. What were you gonna say, Mel? We got people waiting backstage.
Okay, I was going to answer your original question. Do you think that these two lawsuits affected his final conclusion? Right?
Yes.
I don't think so, because in the case of Bonner, in this particular case, she used an attorney, and that attorney, she had to fire him. He was actually at the courthouse. She had to fire him because he's the one that trumped up all these sexual assaults for Bonner. And she also was found a little shady, trying to say Diddy had her hanging over the balcony. And Nicole Westmoreland caught her up and showed that basically she was not necessarily telling the truth. So the judge is wise enough to know that people come into court, they take an oath, and they bullshit all day.
There you go.
And that's what happened in this case. It was a lot of, Diddy did some things wrong, but there was a whole lot of shady characters testifying. I'm not saying specifically who, but I didn't believe most of what I heard, honestly.
Did he really drop to his knees? Was he really crying in court?
No.
I know you said no, but did he drop to his knees?
That's another lie. He dropped to his knees when they read the verdict that he had basically was acquitted of those three main charges. The day that he was sentenced, he never dropped to his knees. That's just the media just twisting and lying again.
He actually didn't. Interesting enough, the lawyers ended, because you're waiting for some sort of reaction. I'll be honest, he looked like a ghost. Even up there giving his speech, he took a couple of seconds because basically the judge said, we're going to let Sean have the last word. We're not going to have any lawyers speak. We're going to let Sean go last before I give my final sentence. So he
actually spoke. And what did he say?
Let me see, because I actually want to.
Okay, so let's get to it real quick. I'll breeze through it. He said, usually I'm silent, but today I'm going to talk up. I personally apologize to Cassie's family. I'm sorry. Sorry to all the victims. The video triggered all the people around the world. Domestic violence is a burden that I carry. I'm sick, drugs. I was out of control. I needed help. I didn't get help. No excuse. And he's saying things of that nature. He knew he was larger than life, but he got lost in the excess because of his ego. It was because of his decision that he lost his children, his career, his money, his business. And he says, Judge, I lost my self-respect. I hate myself right now. I'm stripped down to nothing. No matter what I say, Sorry to each child. Sorry to my mother. My mother taught me better. I knew better. I failed my community. We could do better for people of color, solve our problems, solve the community problems, letting you down. I'm so sorry, Your Honor. People can change. I changed for the better. I beg for your mercy. I changed to be a better father, son, leader again, and don't want to let my family down. They're scared. I'm so scared. And he says, I know I'm putting my life in your hands, but I'm willing to comply with anything that the court places upon me.
Yeah,
That's basically what he said.
and he ended it with that two things: his kids are his deterrent. Because sometimes he said, "Well, what would deter you from doing this again?" He said his kids were his deterrents, and the last thing he said was, "I'm truly sorry for it all."
Yes,
that's how he ended the statement.
Did you feel? I want your honest opinions, Mel. I'll start with you. Do you feel that he was genuine?
I did. I felt he was genuine.
And I know everybody think I'm pro Diddy, but I actually think he was genuine. I mean, if you saw him, he just looks like a shell of himself. He, you know how when people say it look like a ghost, someone's seen a ghost, like he just looked really drained, really broken. But it's what's the song JoJo says? It's just a little too late. I don't think it's that he was not sincere. I don't think it was that. I just think even if he is sincere, I think the sentiment of the people that want him locked up, which are some of the people commenting now, is that it's just too late for you to be sorry. It's too late for you to be sincere. And I think the judge echoed that in his sentencing, that he's like, yeah, you may be sorry now, but you weren't sorry enough before. And I just simply can't let you out right now. I don't think you would be good in the public right now if I let you out.
As a man, I think I would rather go to jail than to sit there at trial, have my mother hear that I'm doing all this ridiculous stuff, show the video, his children are all there, lose all your money. I think that's his losses, not necessarily jail.
I heard, from sources in Hollywood that Diddy slapped the fuck out of his mama one time on that shit.
Yeah.
So he was off that shit.
Well,
and he slapped her ass.
It's interesting that you say about I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it wasn't like I was some avid Diddy follower before, but something interesting that did come out in the sentencing that I didn't know, and maybe you already know, Tasha.
What's up?
Is that they tried to paint how he got down this dark road. And they essentially said his father dying, his best friend being shot. There were a couple of things they named. They said basically before, if you recorded with Diddy, he was like no drugs in the studio. He barely had any alcohol. He was a very clean guy. Like you couldn't have any of that around him. But the minute certain things start happening to him, he did start to use the drugs. And I think actually he got an injury, right, Bill? He was
he had knee surgery and he started taking the perks.
And they said after he started taking the perks, he just went into like he just went in the other direction in terms of drug use. He started trying other things and he just basically never got the help. They're basically saying it wasn't like Diddy was just like this drug addict all the time, this crazy man all the time. It was the injury and some other things that made him start taking prescription drugs, and that just kind of was like a rabbit hole. So I didn't know that.
Well, where was the doctors that prescribed this? Why isn't the federal agents going after the doctors for writing the prescriptions? People don't become addicts without getting access to that stuff.
Yeah, but when you're a billionaire, Tasha, you'd be surprised what you.
He probably flew to Mexico and got it all, so
Who knows? But yeah, they tried to get to, he wasn't always this drug-fueled man, that there was certain things that happened in his life that turned him this way, and that if he had gotten the help, perhaps he wouldn't be sitting here today. So he kind of echoed that in his speech. And, again, it's hard. I know a lot of people in your chat like, I'm not going to believe anything he said. It's hard if you're not just there and sitting there and watching him, it's hard to me. It's hard to say whether you would believe him or not, because I think you really had to be there to see how he delivered it and how he said it. I think the issue is whether he was truly sincere or not. There's just a group of people that just don't care. They're just like, you hurt people for way too long. Even the judge said just like you did so much good with your power and your resources, you use those same power and resources to abuse people, specifically your girlfriend for all these girlfriends for all these years. I gotta give you more time. Like the judge stood 10 toes down on that, and even kind of cursed. Were you surprised that the judge cursed? He quoted something that Diddy said to Jane that was kind of very.
What did he say, Mel? What did he say?
It was a little raunchy.
It was something about the fuck. I don't know what it was. It was
the fuck.
It was the F word though.
Yeah, he cursed. Like it was kind of odd. You know, it's a little Indian man. The judge is an Indian man, if you guys don't know, and so. He had repeated allegedly something he had told to Jay, which was just very crude. And you can tell that just turned.
Oh, okay, yeah. He said, "You're not going to mess up my effing night." That's what he told Jane. Get back in there and get back, do the freak off. You're not going to mess up my
Get back to work. That's what I'm paying your rent for.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's a key point I just want to say real quick to you, Tasha. The big problem, I think, with this case is that he had 4 different groups of attorneys and they were not in agreement. So at the opening argument, Agnifilo stood up and says Diddy wasn't engaging in prostitution. He was paying these men for their time. Well, by the end of the trial, they're saying Diddy had this elaborate porn operation. So had they kept that same congruency throughout the entire trial, perhaps you would understand the trial better. Let me explain. When David Phillips, the first sex worker, walked in, and he started talking about he started sleeping with Cassie and Diddy's in the corner jacking off, right? Had they said in the opening arguments that Diddy had a porn operation, I would have said, "Oh, this guy's a porn star." But because they just tried to make it seem it's a payment of time, it took everybody by storm. The 4 different shops were kind of not in cahoots, right?
Yeah. And I'll be honest, the judge did not like that.
Right.
The judge said he did not like that. They kept saying, "Oh, he's just paying for time." He said he didn't like that. And the judge also said that he found the letter that Diddy sent him before the sentencing. It was like a 4-page letter. I felt like it was the Aaliyah song, right? I felt like the judge was getting a 4-page letter from everybody. Carisha, Gina, everybody was sending him 4-page letters right before the sentencing. He actually started off the sentencing hearing. He was like, "I just want to make a note for the record. I think it was inappropriate that he sent me that letter." He did not like that letter. I read the letter. I thought it was a nice letter. Judge did not like that letter that he sent him.
Felt like he was trying to be swayed.
I don't know. And the thing is, it's not illegal to send the judge a letter, but I think his attorney should have thought a little bit harder. Like, is it really worth it for us to send a letter ahead of send him, let him send it? Because it could turn the judge off. It could affect the ultimate sentence. I think they should have just leaned towards not doing it. But for whatever reason, they let him send the letter because maybe they thought it could only help and not hurt. But I thought that was also interesting. The judge made it clear at the beginning. I thought your client's letter to me ahead of sentencing was inappropriate. He was like, he thought it was inappropriate.
Okay. Well, listen, we got one person waiting backstage. Okay, we're going to let this one person speak and then we're going to wrap things up. I do appreciate you guys finally getting a chance to really unwind what we should have did on Friday. You know what I'm saying? But we just had some things to get in the way. Who's waiting backstage? Queen Tulsa, what you want to say? How you doing,
How
Queen
you
Tulsa?
doing? I wanted to sound out. Hello, panelists. Oh, all right. Hello, panelists. So I wanted to say that he was calling Jane Doe his crack pipe, his little crack pipe as well. His speech sounds like an addict ready to get his next hit. He snitched. There's drugs in the jail. So now he's worrying about him being a target. He said all these things publicly. And really the song is, Miss J. Carter, is Take a Bow by Rihanna. But let's go ahead and get up into this. Remember when he was trying to bail out? He should have just sat and waited. I mean, it was bail hearing, bond hearing, bond hearing. That was money down the drain. He can't get that back, and he's still there. I want you guys to remember, since we're going back to the past, in 1999, when him, J-Lo, and Shine was in that club, and Tanya Rubin actually sued him and won. And actually, when she won, she was harassed, she was stalked, and this is her words. I want to say that since we are doing history, Diddy purchased Kim Porter's casket a month before her death, which was October. Kim's death will be November the 15th, which is coming up. So he'll be able to be in there. And really, because he mentioned her in his video situation, like he was there, you supposed to have been a family man, but you were never married. And then you went on the Wendy Williams show and said you met all the women in 1 year. So when you talk about role model and oh, you got this school and stuff, but we see you on a video beating the hell out of this woman, kicking her. But that wasn't the first time we seen him acting like he was playing for the NFL. Remember when he went on that football field and did what he did because the coach, he didn't like what the coach was doing and put hands to him? Let's talk about it. Diddy, no means no. Diddy is an addict, and once an addict, always an addict. And these are the things that he will have to deal with when he does come out. The life of recovery, triggers, old friends. You got to leave those old friends alone. The yes men, the enablers, and then when we talk about the situations with these ladies being intimate with these random guys with no protection. What guy out here is letting a random guy go up in a woman that he really cares about? You don't know nothing about this man. These men are putting off this woman's pH balance. Let's talk about it. It wasn't just one, it was many. And when they were on their cycles, they was still was told to perform. Dude said he didn't know that old girl was on her cycle until she lifted up. Now that's some nasty shit.
Now you know that. Now Tulsa, you spilling Tasha K live wine right now. A lot of people don't know about that.
Oh no, I'm gonna credit the source. Listen. Shout out to Tasha K because Tasha K, you don't get the credit that you was, baby. I was gonna get to it. I had wrote notes, but listen,
No, I'm
all
just
this
saying,
stuff.
'cause a lot of people gonna be like, "Wait, what?" Because
Yes.
we got that whole interview, so that's the thing.
But
But go
speaking of
ahead.
Tasha K, I was gonna bring up the Gina interview. You brought her on here, and that woman really, us as the viewers, because I watched it, I felt for her. I'm like, no man should be putting his hands on no woman, especially she was with child. You get what I'm saying? And then you allegedly assaulted her and did all these things. That really hurt me. And for her to sit up here and not want to testify, then we see her out at the Whole Foods and things like that. Shout out to Tasha K. I really feel like it was a slap in our face because when you talk about doing the right thing, you had ample of opportunity to do the right thing, but we see money is an influence. Diddy has influence behind the bars. He had Jane Doe coming up in court, being sexy, being seductive, look him in his eyes, and even while he's in the government's custody. She went over and
Mhm.
she sauntered her way over to his defense team and decided to give a hug. Do y'all not remember that?
Mel, I wasn't in court that day. Were you in
Oh
court that day
yeah.
when she went over to
Yeah.
the table, Mel?
Jane Doe
Yeah,
sauntered
it
over
happened.
and hugged. Go ahead, Mel.
Yeah, it happened to Maureen Comey first, sitting at the first table. Then she went to Tenny Garagos, and then she proceeded to leave the courtroom. So, yeah, it happened. I was there.
Absolutely. And Tasha K, we
Finish,
only deal
Tasha.
with facts.
And he's
We
still
only do
paying her rent, and he's still paying
still
for
paying her
this.
rent.
Yeah.
And guess what? He paid for her attorney. So when you talk about control, is that not control? Ladies and gentlemen, with clean heads, with a clear mind, take off your defense. Just looking at this situation, let's not think that it's Diddy and oh girl. But rationally, what are your thoughts? Sound off.
I don't know what to say. I think you pretty much made your point, Tulsa. Thank you.
Okay, okay, hold on, hold on.
Thank you for the recap. Thank you for the
Okay,
recap. And
I got one more.
Oh,
What's that?
and before you continue, I want you to know that it's Tulsa, right?
Yes,
Queen
ma'am. It's
Tulsa.
the Queen Tulsa show. Yes, ma'am.
Queen Tulsa show.
Mhm.
So I want you to know your recap is in short, basically what the judge said. He said decades of good acts cannot. He literally said that cannot wash away all the bad things you've done. He used that key word. He said it cannot wash away. It cannot wash away what you've done. And that's ultimately why he got more than the 2-year average. This is why he basically got double. So
Absolutely.
the judge agrees with you.
Well, thank you. And then this is one thing that I have to ask the panel. So, and we're not giving, this is all speculation. So, when they're hooking up with these random guys, was there a past history, sexual history that they went over? How long does the house in Virginia live in you before it shows up after an encounter? Because that is the title.
Correct.
Well, I'll just give you a quick story. David Phillips, he was the first sex worker. He said that he had asked to see some sort of records on Cassie, and he never got it. So that gives you an idea what happened.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that is because if I go out and sleep with Tom, then I done slept with Sarah and everybody whom that person slept with. If I'm sleeping with them unprotected, I done slept with everybody that you done slept with. And just imagine, were all those people that he slept with, were they ever honest? Was he honest with them? How promiscuous was he? Those are the questions that you have to ask when you're talking about there was some burning, itching, scratching, moving right along. But I'm going to close with this. Diddy is the Ike on steroids, in my opinion. Ike beat the shit out of Tina. And when you talk about this man and he needed his little goodie bag and we had KK right there, it just is given, you better sing this song or it, how this song gets, oh, it's good. No, it ain't good until Diddy say it's good. You get what I'm saying? And it was never good for him. He will never take no. He needs to be there. He needs to sit down. And us as a culture, we need to call out our people. I love him. Thank God that he was, successful in his thing. But why was he trying to give royalties and give things back to the people when he knew stuff was coming down the chimney? Why try to do your good deeds now? You had ample of opportunity. Who has really shined outside of Diddy? Suge Knight told us back in the day on that stage, he said, if you tired of your manager jumping up in your videos, you tired of your manager gotta be in your photo shoot, he gotta do this, he gotta do that. You get what I'm saying? Like he was doing too much.
You, but just a legal note: the reason why he allegedly was giving the royalties away right before all the casting off, because he knew all this was coming down, and basically you had to sign an agreement that said that basically you had to sign a new NDA. So if you wanted all your royalties, you had to sign a new NDA saying that basically you wouldn't sue him, you wouldn't bring any civil claims against him. So it wasn't him just giving it away. You had to sign something. Aubrey O'Day confirmed that was the case. So
Aubrey will be sitting down with the winos here shortly. So she's coming through.
Oh, wow.
To give her last peace offering. So shout out to Aubrey O'Day. She told me to extend her love to the winos, and she is a wino. So go ahead.
But yeah, she spilled that legal tea that, it wasn't just getting your royalties back. You had to sign something. And she said she absolutely refused to sign anything. And going back to the House of Virginia claims, what's interesting about this is I don't think he would lie about having HIV. I'm sure, obviously he would have to do the testing and all of that. But you make a good point. If he has it, that means a lot of people have it. I don't think it would just be just one person. So here's the problem. He actually doesn't know who sexually assaulted him. So let's just say Diddy is not the person that assaulted him. That means it could have been anybody in the house. That person may have not slept with Diddy or Cassie. So it's going to be, I'm going to be honest, it's going to be really hard to try. I'm so sorry that he was assaulted. I'm so sorry that he contracted the disease. But if you can't even clearly say who even assaulted you, it's just going to be hard to track it medically. I just don't
when you have a voyeur that loves voyeurism, it's just, you just really never can pinpoint it because once again, you have the yes men, you got people that don't want to say nothing because they're going to lose that luxury of being around a celebrity and living that fabulous lifestyle because we're in a day and age where, it's popular to still enable just to ride that ride. And I want y'all to know, have some self-dignity about yourself. If you see wrong, call it out. I don't care if you are the person and everybody looking at you, okay, you said what you said, but never stick around and let something go on in your presence, without seeing it.
I agree. Thank you so much, Queen
Okay,
Tulsa. We got
thank
one
you.
more person.
Nice meeting
Okay.
you.
Anytime. Wino
Nice
gang,
meeting you.
gang, gang. We got another caller that just called in, and we're gonna wrap up. Jay Carter, I understand if you gotta go because I know
Yeah,
we
I
only
can
have you
hear a
before.
little bit just in case they have a question. I can.
Okay, okay, great. And Mel, you're okay. And then once this caller is over, we'll go ahead and wrap up and let you
Yes.
guys, shout out your social medias and stuff like that. Okay, who's on the line? EJ, how you doing? EJ, where you calling from?
I'm calling from California. How you guys doing?
I'm good. Shout out to California. I just left there this morning, so back in
Uh,
Florida. Yeah, shout out to
okay, I'm
LA.
sorry. I'm sorry
Yeah,
for calling in so late, but I had a quick question.
what's
How
up?
do you guys feel about, they sitting there sending all these letters and constantly, it seems like they're bugging the judge. Do you think that got something to do with the judgment? Because it seemed like they were getting on his nerves.
Well, we just mentioned a few minutes ago that the judge went on the record at the beginning of the sentencing and said, I want to go on the record. I believe your client, they were referring to Diddy, your client's letter to me was inappropriate. The judge actually started off the sentencing hearing saying that he did not like Diddy's letter sent. Now, he didn't comment on, obviously the other letters.
But everybody else wrote a letter to the judge, so why would the judge have a problem with it?
I
The
don't know.
man can't defend himself?
Mel, do you recall why he felt like Diddy's letter? Because obviously your family and your friends, they can support you and send a letter. You don't have to be famous. Everybody gets that, even in a regular sentencing hearing. But do you recall, Mel, why he said he didn't like Diddy's letter?
I think he was trying to influence his control. Remember when the verdict came down and Diddy tried to raise his hand to speak to the judge, and the judge basically ignored him and admonished him to talk to his attorney? I think they felt like Diddy was doing too much, but I don't think he, was a big deal. But he just wanted to point it out.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
what we
it's just
saying, EJ?
it just seems like, I don't know. Me as a person just looking, it seemed like they even his lawyers, it just seemed like they were bugging the judge. Like every time you turn around, oh, we're doing this, oh, we're doing that, we're writing this, we're doing, like, damn, let the judge be, you know?
Okay,
Well,
okay.
lawyers also have those, I hate to say it, but lawyers run up billable hours. So if you're also referring to like all the motions and everything that even the
Yeah,
lawyers kept sending, a lot of times lawyers are running at that bill. The average criminal law attorney at that rate can be anywhere between $800 to $1,500 an hour.
Yeah.
So you do the math, like every time they file a motion, and I'm not saying they didn't really want Diddy out. I think they
No,
wanted
it's
to,
real. It's real. I
but
got
they're
lawyers right
running, they're
now.
running up a bill. They're running
I
up a
got
bill.
lawyers right now to New York. Just one of my attorneys is $700 an hour. That's not including her assistant attorney. That's around $500 an hour. And the paralegal, that's $300 an hour. And just
yeah, that
so,
man ain't gonna have no
if
money at the end of the
one
day.
lawyer has to contact another lawyer in another state where they filed the lawsuit, she's going to lead the case, but also use them to kind of go in court so she can enter into that state. I mean, it gets costly, and that's just for 1 hour. So typically, if I'm paying her $700, I'm paying my other lawyer $500, which assists her. I'm paying the paralegal $300. How much is that per hour for legal fees?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I just feel like between the legal fees and the civil, there's just simply no money left.
exactly. He gonna be broke.
Yeah. If I was Diddy, I would just let them all go default judgment, right? Because they won't be tort claims and I ain't got to fight them. And then I'll wrap them all up in a bankruptcy. If I were him, I would have been hit a bankruptcy.
That part. Well,
Well,
thank
it's
you
coming. It's
guys.
coming. Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Bishop Lamar, what's his name? Bishop Lamar Whitehead sued me for $300 million. Actually filed the case in New York State Court, okay? That was one of the slowest cases ever. Okay. Now here we are trying to get it dismissed based off of bogus claims. He gave us permission to interview him. He wants the interviews down, saying that we're misusing his likeness. He made up all of these different claims and stuff like that. But needless to say, when we filed our bankruptcy, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to get my money." My trustee from the bankruptcy court called him and said, "All we can offer you, sir, is $1. You are an unsecured creditor below the line and you have no judgment. Sorry, sir." And so he ended up getting convicted. He's serving 9 years in prison right now for stealing, money from people in his church and stuff like that. And we recently just got it dismissed. But that took, when did that case get filed? 2023? No, 2022? It was when it was in Florida. 3 years to get that case knocked out. You know how much money we had to pay? And it's like, even though we won, we can go and get our money back, but what does he have?
Yeah.
What, like, where could I go get the money back? I can't pawn one of the suits he had on. They was fake. They already took the car in the house for restitution. So I'm just out of, I think that case cost us around $600,000.
Yeah, I can believe it. So
for people that think Diddy got all this money growing on trees, like, oh, he can pay for this lawsuit, the only people that are winning are the lawyers. They racking it up. We got to fight, because when they litigate, you're a lawyer, J. Clark, the litigation is where the money is at, right?
Yes, litigation is definitely where the money is. It's not in what they call transactional. A transactional attorney never really goes to court. It's when you're going to court, because those hours just add up. And you got to understand, he doesn't have a free lawyer for his appeal. He's using his same attorneys. He's got Brian Steele, who's a rock star attorney who understandably did get him off on the RICO. He got him off on the sentence the verdict that would have been.
He would be fired. After that, you're relieved of duty, so I don't need you anymore.
Right, you got me off the big one, but he's still using. And I met Brian, by the way. Very, very nice, very humble. I as just a fellow, attorney, obviously, I love just meeting, attorney of that caliber. Really good attorney. But they're
I heard he like black women. Is that true?
Oh, I don't know.
Jay Carter, they say he's really upset with the black.
He's married to a white woman. He's married to a white woman, so I don't know nothing about him liking black women. Where you get that from, Tasha? Tasha, where you get that tea from? You gonna have Brian calling you like, don't be telling those people.
Anyway, okay. Listen, Mel, anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
Well, I would tell the fellas, don't be like Ike, be like Spike, and do the right thing, because being like Ike will get you locked up for real. But here, even though I do not condone the beating of women, all the abuse, I sat every day throughout the entire trial. It hurt to see these women talk about what happened to them. It also happens to children. But on a separate note, I want to leave you guys with this final message. Epstein did way worse than Diddy. They allowed him to have work release and leave the jail every day, right? They gave him a sweetheart deal. Also today at the Gateway Church in Texas, the Pastor Morris was sentenced. He was looking at 20 years, just like Diddy. He got away with 6 months. All he got was 6 months. So while you're harping on Diddy's case, which he probably do deserve it, also keep in mind that the justice system is not fair in America, and we need to work together to try to figure this thing out, because what's unfair is unfair. There's no easy way to slice it.
And I feel like federally, if the federal government brings a case and make you deplete your funds trying to fight to defend your case, if you win, I feel that the federal government should have to pay their defendant for winning. You shouldn't have to exhaust anybody for something they didn't do. It's like, how do they recoup that money? He won. Give him the money back that he lost.
Yeah, unfortunately, our system isn't created that way. But I will say, as my closing note, first of all, thank you for the winos, the ones that don't care for me. So thank you for watching.
They love you, girl. Stop.
Thank you for watching. I tried to bring my most unbiased approach, because I didn't sit every day in the courtroom, but I did sit a couple of weeks in the courtroom. And obviously I was there for the verdict. I was there for the sentencing. So I attended as much as I could. But what I will say is, yes, I think this is bigger than Diddy. You have to understand, Diddy was once one of our Black billionaires. We don't have that many Black billionaires. And I do think this case, more than anything, teaches at least the prosecution that you cannot just bring a RICO. You can't, everything is not a RICO. Everything is not a RICO. They tried to do it to Irv Gotti. It didn't work out. They tried to do it to Young Thug. It didn't work out. They tried to do it to Diddy. It didn't work out. And if Tyler Perry doesn't watch it, they may try to do a RICO on him. Because truth be told, Tyler Perry Enterprises is a business. It is a brand. And he is one of our Black billionaires. Jay-Z also is a Black billionaire. So I'm not saying None of these people ever did anything wrong in their lives, but wake up and look at the bigger picture. It is not a coincidence that every Black billionaire in this country in the last, 2.5 years has gotten these claims. They are not happy that these people have achieved this level of success. Now, again, it doesn't excuse bad acts. I think you should always you need to answer to your bad acts, but there is something bigger going on here in terms of a target on our Black billionaires. There's something bigger going on here with our criminal justice system. And that's what I'm more concerned about. I'm not really team anybody. I'm team, you got to be fair. You got to sentence the correct way. If you did the crime, pay the time. I'm team fair. I'm not team, anyone. And if you want to hear from some of your Black leaders, politicians, lawyers, celebrity advocates, we got a lot of good stuff going on at the Black Lawyers Podcast. We've interviewed everyone from Kerry Washington to Ben Crump to your favorite, Jasmine Crockett. We've interviewed her twice. So head over to the Black Lawyers Podcast, where we break down some of these Black legal news stories year round. And we also interview some of your favorite Black celebrity advocates, politicians, and attorneys. I appreciate that support.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Mel, you want to sign off and let everybody know where they can find you, follow you, watch you?
Yeah, my channel is called Watching the World 777 on YouTube and also on TikTok. You can find me there. I want to say thank you, Tasha. You're the best to do it. That's all I can say. And thank you to your winos, but you are the best. You're leading the pack, so we're right behind you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was an honor having you both on. We'll definitely have you both on again. Winos, please show some love for Mel as well as Jay Carter. Thank you so much. Black excellence all the way around, and I will see you guys later, okay? I'm going to just have a moment with my winos before we sign off here, okay?
All right. Take care, everyone. Good night, winos.
Good night. All right. So wino gang, how y'all doing? All right. So I know we don't usually go live on Mondays, especially at night. We ain't been live that much this month, have we, Jasmine? Probably like 3 lives. Did they think I quit my job or something? No, that's not the case, y'all. See, what had happened was my son is back home, okay? And so I know a lot of y'all are not on TashaKLive.com, and that is okay, where I do give updates around the clock of people that actually care about what goes on in my life. Most of y'all don't give a damn. You just want your news, and I get that too. But I'm human as well, okay? And so some months we're doing good, some months we're not. And my son, unfortunately, was hospitalized this month, and it took about 2 weeks out of our schedule. And before that, school had started, so we had to get him situated for school. My daughter is now starting college and stuff like that. And so it was just a lot going on. I apologize for not keeping up with the lives, and we're doing something to try to rectify that so that it can happen all the time. Matter of fact, it's already been done. We have a live-in nanny now. I have had to just put my pride down. And I've had to do it because otherwise you guys ain't gonna get no content. So Lamine has a very severe case of allergies, asthma, and eczema. And when his allergies are triggered, so is his eczema and his asthma. And so that puts him in the hospital. And so I've had to involve a specialist, a pulmonologist, in order to test him to see what he was allergic to. We did find out what his allergen triggers are, but whenever it happens, me and my husband lose sleep because we're having to give him breathing treatments around the clock or hospitalize him and stuff like that. And so he'll eventually grow out of it because his dad's dad, uncles, all of them have asthma. It runs on my husband's side of the family, not mine. And so it's just kind of taken a lot out of us. And so we don't know whether we're coming or going. And so I've swallowed my pride as a Black woman. And whereas I've had a nanny that lived outside of the house, now I have a nanny that lives inside of the house. And so she cares for Lamine and his needs around the clock. She knows how to administer his meds. She knows how to recognize when allergens are coming on. And so if in the event he does have to be hospitalized, she could be there as well too as a third leg, because we don't have much family where we are. And so she is a part of our family now, and Lamine is taken to her. And so I'm able to continue on with my career. What's going on, Jasmine? Oh, nothing. I'm able to continue on with my career and do what we've been doing here for 10 years. And I do got to tell you, we got something so big for you guys as a 10-year anniversary present. I don't even think Peaches knows because Peaches is here. Peaches Royale is right here, y'all. She right here. She right here. All the way down from New Jersey. She right here. But we got such a huge thank you and just surprise for y'all. I just really think the haters is mad now. It's actually two big surprises. You think the haters is mad now? Wait till this comes out, okay? And it's for y'all. It's for y'all. Y'all did this. Y'all built this. We wouldn't be here without y'all. I don't want y'all to think that I've abandoned y'all. Talk. Being in the business of talk, being in the business of comedy, I could do this for the rest of my life. I hope to grow with y'all and do it for the rest of my life. I hope that you guys are able to grow with me and you're able to see your children and your children's children and your children's children. And we can look back when we in our 90s and 100s and be like, we was winos for 50 years. You know what I'm saying? And we can have our reunions. And so I don't want you to think I'm going nowhere. I don't care what anybody thinks is going to happen, but we're not going anywhere. We're only getting bigger and better. And I do apologize because I know that's when the low numbers come in. They're like, Tasha's not live, so I'm not going over there. What's going on? And so I have to re-earn your trust, but I do want to be transparent about it. The reason Lamine did live in Africa for the last 3 years is one, because we did work a lot. We were on the road. And two, we did want him to grow up under his father's culture and not whatever this culture is that they're trying to implement with, all this gender stuff and sexuality stuff. We wanted him to grow up being an African Black man the best way we can. Okay. And so, and he was there. Now he's here with us. And so we're trying to adjust and we're adjusting great. And I just thank you guys for your patience and love. We'll be live on TashaKLive.com at 11:30 tonight. Okay, so I don't care what y'all got to say. You're getting it live. If you don't watch it tonight, you're going to watch it in the morning. It is actually a Zoom. So sometimes we have these community Zooms where you guys will get a Zoom link and you can come in and everybody just voices their opinion, okay? And tonight, the Zoom is going to be about... You guys get to debate on it, whether or not Nicki Minaj was right or wrong, okay? And so if you want to join that community Zoom, I do encourage you to subscribe to TashaKLive.com. It is literally 40 cents a day, okay? And if you don't like it, you can actually pause, okay? If finances get a little too tight, but we don't ask too much. It's just to support us when it comes to premium content that YouTube or Facebook won't monetize us for. And so we get to, make the money that we need in order to support us and support our staff so that we can all pay our bills and bring you some excellent content. So thank you so much. I do apologize, like I said, for the delay in content, but we are here now and I'm back and I do have a support team and I'm happy with that. So guys, I know you're about to be pissed off with me once again because we're about to roll a Cat Williams trailer. And I do want to say this. I want you to hear me and hear me well. I don't give a damn what X got to say. I don't give a damn what this gang got to say or that gang or this. I don't care. I have one job, and that is to provide a platform to the people who have been silenced. Now, y'all can say all that, you don't interview celebrities. We do. But what happens when we get them? The same redundancy stories. They don't let you into their lives. They don't tell you things like that. Everything is commercialized. We really get down into it. We unwind, okay? And so a lot of y'all didn't even know Cat Williams had a brother. You were under the impression that he really had no family. You were under the impression that he had left home at 13 years old, never to return. Well, his brother, as well as co-signed by both of his parents that have been married 50 years, are tired of what they say are lies about them and what's happened to him. And so now they are here sharing their truth. And this is just the beginning of it. Billy Sorrells came through and gave us an interview on Cat saying that he ain't never did no drugs. Billy Sorrells said he snorted my dope. My dope. I want to tell you that this interview that's going to drop Friday on TashaKLive.com is very triggering. It is going to ruffle some feathers, especially when it comes to family secrets. And so, I know a lot of you guys are fans of him. I'm a fan of him. But what I am not a fan of and what I don't play about is child abuse, or alleged molestation, okay? And so his brother came through and put down his pride. It has nothing really to do with money for him, but the parents are dying. And Cat spends his money on everything else, but his parents are literally going through so much. And they're like, look, I'm not gonna die with these lies taking place. And so listen, whatever you decide to do with the interview, that's on you. You want to announce that you unfollowing? We'll see you when you refollow. Y'all always do that all the time, okay? Y'all don't know whether y'all coming or going around this bitch, but we'll still be here when you decide to come back. Okay. And so at the end of the day, we have a job to do. It may ruffle your feathers because y'all may be fans of this person and that person. But at the end of the day, if I feel that this is newsworthy and I feel that someone has some legit information that needs to be passed along because media silences them because of their love and loyalty to one person based off of his entertainment value and not his character, even though there are documented lawsuits of him paying off women for beating the shit out of them, y'all gonna leave me alone. Go ahead, Jasmine, run the interview.
This child migrate from Cincinnati, Ohio to California. When I arrive to California and I come to my brother's home, I find my two abusers, my two childhood abusers, are playing house together. When I find out my brother and my cousin, two people who abused me as a child, are playing house together and got a pretend child, how long does it take that child to enter the world of mental turmoil when they get old enough to realize the person they thought was their daddy is technically their cousin?
When he say messing with you, what did he do?
I'm a grown man saying a man abused me.
Sexually?
How long can you hold on to it? Seeing the person that did it on fucking TV, in movies.
Medical debt is the #1 reason Americans file for bankruptcy, and soon they're going to be reporting on your credit. And usually the medical debt is not your fault. If medical bills are overwhelming you, bankruptcy can stop the collection calls and get rid of the medical debt and allow you to focus on healing instead of worrying about being sued over medical debt. I'm Chad Van Horn, and if you're buried in medical debt, give me a call today and let's find a way out.